Alright, bassheadbrandon here, back with you. Got another how-to video. Gonna show you how to do a basic aftermarket wire install for a radio. Just some basic tools you'll need. Wire cutters, strippers, some solder, soldering iron, electrical tape, and I actually like to use heat shrink. You don't have to have, the fancy wire cutters like I have. You can do it with just some basic cutters, or even if you just have like a razor blade laying around to get the shielding on the wires back. I was going to do a Sony radio that I had laying around until I actually looked at the wiring. Hang on. And got through all the wires, and then I realized, I only have one green wire, so yeah, you can't hook up speakers with one wire, so yeah, so I scrapped this radio, and then I was digging through my stuff, and I found this radio. It's just a basic doubled-in Pioneer, nothing special. It's got basic pre-outs on the back, subwoofer, auxiliary plug, and then this guy, the all-important wiring harness, which it's kind of on the short side, but you just push this tab in and pull this out. Okay, but so basic wiring harness, you got all the speaker wires, power, ground, remote. This one has an illumination. I'll get into that once we start actually doing the wiring a little bit, but yeah, this is just it's pretty basic radio, and the the wiring harness is actually for a 2003 Ford F-250, which is actually my truck that I'm currently building on. There'll be more videos on that as we go as well, but I'm not using this harness because it's old and the leads are really short on it, and I've probably used it a dozen times, but so I figured why not use it for this to show you guys just a simple how-to video on how to wire up an aftermarket radio. So stay tuned, and I'm going to get set up the rest of the way, and we'll show you how to get this done. So I don't use these because I have these, which are a little bit nicer to have. They're a little more expensive. You can get them on Amazon. I think they're like 20 bucks or 15 bucks. But what I really like about them is when you go to strip the wire, bam, that's all you got to do. Wire stripped, ready to go. But anyways, so I'm wiring a radio. Some vehicles have one harness with all the wires on it. Some of them have two harnesses with the, power, ground, remote, and so on. And then the other one will have like the speaker wires and maybe an accessory or something on it. And then some of them have 3 or 4. Some of them have, big bypass boxes you have to buy and different things to, make it work with your specific vehicle. But for this vehicle, 03 F-250, very basic, very simple. That's kind of why I chose it. And again, also very simple radio. No extra add-ons or other things that you need to connect. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start by doing the power, ground, and remote, and the yellow one is the accessory or the battery. So I'm going to start off with that. I just did the ground on the F-250 wiring harness. Sorry, I blanked out there for a second. So now I'm going to go on this harness, and what I like to do, I separate the speaker wires. I push them to the side since I'm not dealing with those right now. And then I come over here to all the power, ground, remote, accessory, and illumination wire. And since I'm doing the ground is black, and it's very simple. It's very color coordinated. Yeah, it's literally black to black, yellow to yellow, red to red, blue to blue. Some vehicles have an orange or illumination or dimmer switch. My vehicle that I'm doing right now, it does not have that. So this wire is actually irrelevant. I can actually just bend that out of the way and wrap a piece of electrical tape around it since I'm not going to use it. And again, every vehicle's different. Every wiring harness is different. Some wiring harnesses have tons of wires on them. I mean, even more than what this one has. It like double, triple, quadruple the amount of wires. But again, this is very simple, very basic. So I'm going to go back, and like I said, you just match the wires up. I got the black one on the vehicle harness already pulled back. So now I'm going to do the black wire on the radio harness. Pull that one back, use a tool. Boom. Pretty simple. And then what I like to do is, first, actually, is you take a piece of heat shrink and you figure out, okay, if they're together, you need about that much. So that's roughly about 1 inch. So what I like to do is take my cutters and just eyeball, about 1 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. It just has to be close to it. And then I just cut my piece off. And then what I'll do is slide it on over first. And you'll do this at least 12 times because I still do this. You will get it all twisted together, get it soldered, and then go, oh no, I forgot to put the heat shrink on. Dope. It is what it is. If you have, with your soldering kit, if you have a desoldering tool, these are great. Just heat it back up, suck the solder off, pull it apart. You can get your heat shrink on there, no problem. If not, what I like to do if I don't have this tool laying around is just heat it up and just keep heat on it and pull it apart. That's really the only other way to get it apart without this tool. Unless I'm wrong and you know other ways, then please comment down below and let me know that. But yeah, so now that I got the heat shrink on there, I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 wires and twist them together like so. Okay. Now that they're twisted together like that, right? I'm going to go ahead and clamp this down in my little nifty tool here. And then I'm going to take my solder and my soldering gun, which again, I think I paid like $50 for this one. It's a little bit of a nicer one. You can adjust the temperature on it, the heat. It's got like little cleaning stuff on it, to clean the tip off if you have solder on there. But yeah, you don't need this. You can buy a cheap Radio Shack. Yes, I said Radio Shack. I know they're not really around, but yeah, a cheap Radio Shack one, goes for like $10. You could probably even get it for like $5 on Amazon. Don't quote me, but check out Amazon. They might have one. But yeah, so all you do, what I like to do is start by heating up the wire, and you just use the solder and just touch the solder to the wire. Eventually the wire will get hot enough and the solder will begin to melt. See how it's melting on the wire? Okay. I like to coat a good amount of the wire in the solder to make sure that it gets a good, nice, tight hold. And just so you guys can see the solder on there. I don't know exactly where the camera angle's at, but so you guys can see. And then what I like to do is pull or push one of the ends over like this. So it lays flat like that on the wire. So it makes it look almost like it's one long straight wire, although it does have that little bump out. Okay. Then what I like to do is take a small piece of electrical tape. And again, this is just what I like to do. It's added precaution, and I only do this on the power ground and battery, the yellow wire. So you don't have to do this. The heat shrink is more than enough to seal it in and keep it where, you know, you're not going to run into any issues. But I do like to just wrap a small piece of electrical tape around it first. And like I said, you do not have to do this. This is not necessary. And in all honesty, if all you got laying around is some electrical tape, I mean, boom, you're done. Electrical tape. You can just twist the wires together, you can electrical tape it, and it will be fine. It will work. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now the fun part of getting the heat shrink over it, because I think I picked the wrong size heat shrink. I should have went one more size up, but I think I can make this work. So let's see. Nope, I might have to pull some of the electrical tape off. Okay, no biggie. So I have to pull a little bit of the tape off, which isn't a big deal. It's still completely covered. And don't do that either. Don't whack your hand on the table. But I'm okay, I promise. It didn't hurt. And then, yeah, so the heat shrink over. And actually... And then normally I would use a torch, but it's really cold out and I didn't feel like going out to my garage. So I'm just going to use a normal Bic lighter to heat up the heat shrink and get it to form to the wire. So we're just heating it up. Okay, and boom. And then blow on that. And this heat shrink that I use, it has glue in it. So once it melts and bonds and it dries, it's hard as a rock. I mean, you're not going to get it off without cutting it off. But so just so you can see, that's one wire. And you're basically going to go ahead and do the same thing with all the rest of them, matching up the wires accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to do next the red wire. So red wire, take the wires. Oh, see? You got to remember, heat shrink. Heat shrink, heat shrink. Always remember that. So same thing. I always try to make, when I'm stripping the wires back like that, the shielding, I always try to stay consistent with how much I'm taking off. That way, each time I come to measure for my heat shrink, it's usually about the same size. So then we're going to want to put that on there. Then you go ahead and, like I said, line the wires up, red to red. Twist the wires together. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and solder this on up for you. So then I'll show you once it's done. Pull some more solder out. Okay, and like I said before, you're going to want to just heat the wire up. So put the soldering iron on the wire, give it a few seconds to warm up. And then eventually it'll get hot and the solder will take. Okay, see, it's starting to take. And then I like to just feed enough to get all of it on there. Okay. All right, and give that a second to cool off. Okay, and then so you can see the solder is actually all the way around and through. And then again, like I said, I like to bend this down as flat as I can to make it seem like it's one continuous wire, like that. Small piece of electrical tape. Okay. Then slide it, the heat shrink over the electrical tape like so. Okay. And then again, just use the lighter. Get the heat shrink to melt down. Okay. And just like that, you're all done with that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and do these last couple power and ground. Or I'm sorry, power and ground. Just the yellow accessory. This is actually not a remote, and this is actually only a turn on if the radio requires a turn on. This radio does not have a blue turn on wire, so it doesn't need one. It will turn on basically off of this yellow wire, which is the ignition key wire. Which, you know, you turn the key, the radio turns on, you turn the key off, the radio turns off. So just so you know that's why the different blue wires are. This wire is actually for the remote wire if you install an aftermarket amplifier. Usually the harness will have two blue. It'll have a remote wire and it'll have a turn on. And actually, I hate to say it, but this one might actually be missing a wire. It might actually be missing that blue wire that's supposed to go on there. I'm not familiar with this radio model. Again, it was just an old radio that I had laying around from I don't even know what. But if it does need that blue wire, I apologize. Again, it's just as simple as lining the blue wire up with the blue wire. Do not use the one with the line. That is for an aftermarket amplifier. But I'm going to go ahead and do this last one really quick, and then I'll get to the speaker wires. Okay, twist it together. Again, use the heating gun to heat the wire up. Okay, there we go. We're starting to get solder on there. Okay. Okay. Got that going. Get the heat shrink on electrical tape. Okay. And I get this shrinked down. Okay. All right. So then you got those done. And again, I think it does have a blue wire that's missing on that, on the radio part. But again, it's just as simple as matching the same color to the right color. Almost all radios are pretty color coordinated. You know, green to green, blue to blue, red to red, black to black, purple purple, gray gray. And then next I'm going to get into explaining the speaker wires and how those are connected. So stay tuned. Alright, so I went ahead and untangled the speaker wires a little bit, but I just want to show you there's 4 speaker wires, front right, front left, rear right. You got gray, white, purple, and green. And then if you go over to the harness that's for the vehicle, guess what? You got green, purple, gray, and white. So you have all the same colors, and again, just like these, you just go ahead and color match. So I'm going to go ahead and start with, let's see, I go off of the radio harness. I try to start from the middle, and then work out. That way your wires you're not fighting in the middle of your wires trying to twist everything together and solder and all that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and actually start with the purple ones. So I'm going to bend these ones back out of my way and bend these and go ahead and start with the purple. And I always do both. There we go. Hang on 1 second. There we go. All right. I always do both. That way, I know which ones I'm working for, and then the ones I'm not using, I always try to bend completely out of the way. So the purple ones, you'll have one with a line on it, which is the negative, and one without a line on it, which is the positive. Most of the wires will distinguish. It'll actually tell you this one actually tells you right here. This one, the purple, is right rear, and it tells you that the non-lined one is the positive. So you want to just basically make sure you line up non-line with non-line and line with line. And it's the same principle as these. You just want to go ahead and line them up and twist them together. But again, always make sure you have your heat shrink ready. Because like I said, you'll do it a dozen times. Like, I don't care who you are. Again, I still do it. I almost just did it right now after stressing it and talking about it previous to this. But so now, like I stated before, when I do the speaker wires, I do not put electrical tape on the speaker wires. I only heat shrink the speaker wires. Again, you can just use electrical tape. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. It will do the trick. Some shops use butt connectors or different, I call them little nipple connectors, the ones that Best Buy uses. It literally looks like a nipple, and you just shove the wires in there and pinch the top. I don't like those. I think it's cluttered. It makes it look ugly, but that's why I just like to use the heat shrink. I think it keeps everything nice and neat, straight, and it just looks like it makes more sense to me. But so I got the wires on here. I'm going to go ahead and start soldering these. I do solder all of my connections. That is one thing that I do with all of my things. Soldering is important to me. It ensures you get a good connection, and it assures that your connection doesn't come apart, because a lot of these vehicles, man, crazy amounts of power, crazy amounts of wattage, and just like dude, like you're putting 20,000-30,000 watts or even more than that, and you just have your stuff like twisted together and thrown in there. Like, okay, then you want to know, oh, why is my stuff starting on fire and not working right? Well, because you didn't take the 2 extra steps, to just make sure your wires were soldered and make sure you got a good connection. Good connections are very important, but you can't tell everybody everything. You can only tell them what they want to hear most of the time. But so I'll just get these soldered up. Okay. Pull some more solder out. Okay, so got the speaker wires done. Same thing as before. I fold them over so it's a nice straight line. Then I pull the heat shrink over. And again, I usually use a torch, which makes this heat shrink stuff, a whole lot easier. I'm going to actually use this just to kind of hold it up for me so I can get the heat shrink to melt. But go ahead and flip her over. Do the same thing to the back side, so we get a good, nice, tight seal. All right, so as you can see, heat shrink, that's one speaker wire. So now the next one I'm going to do is going to be the green one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the green. Let me level these wires out. There we go. So again, like I do, I peel back all the wires that I'm using, and all the wires that I'm not using, I bend and push away. So I'm not dealing with those. They're not in my way at all. There we go. And then this one. Hang on. All right, so again, same thing, line, no line. The green one, this one, it's hard to see, but this one actually has the line. This one does not have a line. So same thing. Make sure you have your heat shrink ready. Okay. And again, like I said, I always make my cuts and everything about the same size. That way I'm always using the same amount of heat shrink. It would help if I slid the heat shrink over the wires, right? Now, when you're doing this, you can do one wire at a time. You can do it, however you like it. If you feel like you need to cut the ends off all of them and do them all at the same time before you do anything else, go for it. Whatever you are most comfortable with. For me, this is just the way I do it. If you have any suggestions or anything that I miss in this video, please feel free to comment and let me know, what I'm missing out on. But so we're gonna go ahead and solder these up. And again, you want to heat the wire up. You don't, you know, some people will put the solder on the actual soldering iron itself and then try to like spread it onto the solder, or onto the wire or whatever. I mean, you can do that, but you're really only putting solder on the surface. You're not actually like letting the solder penetrate into it like heating the wire up does. But again, to each their own. I'm not out to say that my way is the only way or my way is necessarily even the best way out of anybody, but the ways that I do things are ways that I've learned over the years and just ways that work for me. You know, you don't have to like the way that I do things. I'm not saying my way is necessarily the best way or whatever, but it works. You know, take it for what it is. Again, if I miss anything at all, please comment. You know, let me know. Hey, you didn't mention this, or hey, why did you do that, or you know, you didn't explain this. You know, please let me know. I'm not out to get butt hurt and upset because, you know, you made a comment because I forgot to say something or I said something wrong. You know, I only want to give good information and try to help you guys. You know, I'm a bass head. You know, I love bass. I love car audio. I love all of it. So, you know, I'm still learning also. You know, I'm not new to this, but this hobby is forever changing. I mean, I haven't even started to dabble in like the lithium banks and battery deletes and stuff. Like, that's still pretty new to me. I haven't gotten into that yet, but I will. Don't get me wrong, I will. But anyways, back to this. I'm gonna go ahead and actually just cut and solder up the last four, and just kind of let it record and play while I'm doing it. And then I'll finish up and yeah, I'll explain what else and if there's anything else that needs to be done. But so now I'm gonna go ahead and do the white one. Oh, and I'm sorry for the noise in the background. I'm recording this in my son's room, who actually loves to solder. This is actually his soldering kit. I got him for Christmas. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. Oh, and the kid in the background is not my kid. It's my friend Jerry's kid. He's actually got a few videos on my YouTube page, and I also tag him a lot on Instagram. He's basing for boobies on Instagram. But anyways, so let me finish doing this. But yeah, I can't wait for all the stuff I have in store for you guys coming up between my truck build and just everything else I got going on that's gonna be coming to light. I got my own logo and everything I'm gonna be doing. Sorry, I'm over here picking up everything. Yeah, I got my own logo that I had drawn out being made. Got stickers and stuff. Once my logo and stuff, I get it LLC'd and all that stuff. I'll be able to make hoodies and shirts and stuff like that. It's all gonna be bassheadbrandon. That's me. That's my logo. That's who I am. That's what I am. But that's a further project down the line that I will keep you all posted on, and hopefully y'all will peep the merch. But yeah. And again, doing this with an actual torch makes it a million times easier than doing it with a lighter, because a lighter is only gonna let you do so much. Yeah. So like I said, I got a lot of stuff in the works going on in the background as I'm doing all these how-to videos, and I got some more flex videos that I'm going to be doing soon here as well. And then again, I got my truck going. I got to get that going. I got to finish up. I'm going to be shooting the part 2 video of the fiberglass door panel video, so that'll be coming up soon after this. Yeah, so I got a whole bunch going on, and hopefully y'all like it, and hit that subscribe button and share my stuff and tell your friends. And you know, if you live in the Northwest Indiana area or Chicagoland area, maybe we can even meet up and I can maybe do something to your vehicle. You never know. But for now, we're just gonna do this bassheadbrandon thing and record some videos for you guys, and hopefully I can help a lot of you beginner bass heads out there to encourage you to do what I'm doing. You know, get out there and build your own build your own vehicle. You know, use my how-to videos to build your own door panels, or you know, do whatever you want to do. But, and again, I apologize for the stuff in the background. But it's cold, it's winter, see, look. So, I jumped the gun and I'm over here talking and BSing, and look. Yeah. So, I did not put the heat shrink on this. So, I guess I could show you guys real quick this cool little tool here. This guy. It's a desoldering tool. It actually sucks the solder out. So you just heat it up again. And heat it up again. And that actually didn't do a very good job, but this is usually used for circuit boards, actually. I thought it would work with this, but it actually doesn't. So your best bet is literally just to heat the wire up and just, you know, pull the wire apart and then redo it. But I'm not going to waste my time and do that, just because I just basically wanted to show you guys how to properly wire it up. You know, and then the last thing, you know, would just be to plug up the connections behind the dash and plug this into the radio and go from there. I could probably do a video with like a dash kit or something, a dash kit install. I'll probably do that once I get a little bit more in depth with my truck build and I start doing videos on that. I could definitely do, you know, a video of, you know, installing the dash. I plan on doing a fiberglass dash, so that's something else I can show you guys how to do. I'm going to fiberglass it, raise up, you know, some parts and add some voltmeters and a spot for, you know, where the RCAs are going to come out for my bass knob. I'm going to have a can style bass knob and stuff. But you know, that's more stuff down the road. But this video, I just wanted to show you basically how to wire up, you know, a basic radio. Like I said, there's more complex ones out there that have way more wires and way more going on with them. But this is just, again, it's a very basic Pioneer radio. It's got basic pre-outs and stuff. It's nothing special. I think it's literally probably like a $60 to $80 radio. Like it's a very inexpensive radio. It might even be less than that. But it was a radio I had laying around, so I figured I'd give it a go. And I didn't even realize that, again, like I said, I'm almost 100% sure it's missing this blue wire. But it is what it is. I just wanted to show that. And like I said, subscribe, like, click that bell. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. And we'll see you next video. Peace.